Hello and welcome back to CEO.CA, where we're at PDAC 2025, and I have the pleasure of speaking with Robert Eckford of Rua Gold. Thank you so much for joining us.
It's great to be here.
So to get started, Rua just reported significant Gold-Antimony intercepts. Can you talk a little bit about that news release and the specifics of the results?
Sure, yeah. It was the start of this week. We put out 12 meters of a gold equivalent of 12 grams a ton. So it's nice and wide intercepts. It's close to surface. It was only 150 meters deep. And that's really important to us. But most significantly, we're really unfolding this antimony byproduct that we've got in the Reefton district in New Zealand's South Island. And antimony is an important mineral to us. But this drilling is really at the outset. And so we're in the exploration drilling phase at the moment, where we're sort of stepping out from a current known resource. And these drill results are really proving that this thing's going to grow.
So can you sort of tell investors what antimony is and why it's so important?
Yeah, and it actually, funnily enough, not many people knew. I didn't know about antimony until 6 months ago. But really, it's come into focus a lot more. And it actually got voted at the BMO conference. I know we're at PDAC now, so we shouldn't talk competitors, but the BMO conference said it's the metal to watch in 2025.
Okay.
I mean, and they're a bit late because it already went up 500% in the last 18 months in terms of spot price.
Wow.
But it's essentially a hardening metal. It's on the critical minerals list for every critical minerals list in the world. And it's a hardening element that goes into shell casings for munitions and Kevlar. And then it's used in the EV revolution. It goes into solar panels, and it goes into all things liquid battery storage. It's a flame retardant. So it's got a wide variety of uses that covers both the criticality of things like munitions to the EV sort of revolution that we're under.
And what about supply and demand of this metal? And and can you give us more of a macro sort of outlook?
Yeah, I guess supply demand is the best thing about antimony. I mean, you see these critical minerals, and let's use lithium as the case in point. Suddenly, lithium is the future of EV batteries, and the price skyrockets, and then lithium's everywhere. And so it's only the best deposits that are economic. Antimony was voted by the Critical Minerals Institute as the most scarce of all the critical minerals. So the supply is always going to be really limited, and especially high-grade supply. Like our drill results last week, it was 2% antimony over 12 meters. You think about one of the most known antimony stories in North America is Perpetua Resources. Their antimony resource is 0.06%. So we're multiples above that on our drill results, and it's really hard to find, and so you're never going to get oversupply. And then on the demand side, interesting things are happening. I mean, the solar panels that are coming out of China keep growing every single year, and that's such a huge component. But one important factor to mention is that the antimony price going from 10,000 a ton to 50,000 a ton, all it does is change the price of a solar panel by $10. There's such a little amount of antimony used that it's very price inelastic because it doesn't change the price of a solar panel. It's not the lithium to an EV car story. It's such a small component of each of these things that it's very price inelastic. And so with that mix of an inelastic price, limited supply, we really don't think the antimony price is coming down. If anything, it's going up. And the final thing I'll ramble on about now is the fact that China banned exports of antimony last August. Okay. And they control, between Russia, China, and Tajikistan, control over 80% of the antimony market. So as we see with all these critical minerals, with the Trump tariffs, with all these moves governments are making, this is a critical mineral that people should be watching because the West need a secure supply.
So New Zealand's Resource Minister Shane Jones is here at PDAC. Why is that important, and how is it connected to your company?
Yeah, it's really nice to have New Zealand showing face at PDAC. It's the first time they've done it for a long time. And it really speaks to the fact that the politics are very different in New Zealand than it was 24 months ago. And it's a new, very pro-mining government, and they're really actively seeking to reinvigorate their mining industry. hence why he's at PDAC doing interviews and telling everyone New Zealand's open for business. So it's not just me on my soapbox saying, oh, this is a great jurisdiction, there's good infrastructure, there's active skilled labor, all that sort of stuff. You've got the resource minister of New Zealand coming on his own and telling the world, everyone should be looking at New Zealand. And he's not just doing this. He's passed legislation last year that creates a much more expedited fast-track process to a mining permit, which now is a 6-month process to go from an exploration permit to a mining permit. And we're in the first world here. So it's a great jurisdiction from that respect. The last thing I'll mention on Shane Jones is, because he's an amazing orator, so I'd encourage everyone to watch his interview with you guys. But they put out a critical minerals list in January 31, 2025, so a couple of weeks ago. And on that critical mineral list, antimony, because obviously everyone has it, gold, which isn't so common, but it's extremely important to New Zealand, and even met coal hit their critical minerals list. I mean, they're so serious about reinvigorating mining that they've put coal on the critical minerals list. So it's a jurisdiction that really wants mining to come back in a big way and really get a lot of the Kiwis that go over to Australia and work in the mines. They all need to come back and come back to New Zealand and work in the mines that will help build and that side of it. So it's nice to see his passion. It's nice to see him up here talking about it, and it's a great jurisdiction to be operating right now.
So just lastly, what can investors be watching specifically to Rua Gold going into the rest of this year?
Yeah, we've actually just 2 weeks ago, we closed a financing, oversubscribed. We used our full over allotment, no warrants. All the insiders and management participated. And with all that money, we're putting it into the ground and we're going to prove out this drill thesis. So you saw these initial drill results. There'll be more drill results coming. And we want to build inventory this year. Last year was all about getting our land package together, getting all the foundations of Rua Gold. Now this year is building ounces and building on to the point where we can get over 1 million, hopefully 1.5 million ounces MRE, and then we're in a position to look at going to that next level.
It's awesome. Well, there's lots of exciting things up ahead for the company. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.